tonight as your church. God, we thank you for the gospel. We thank you for the word of God. We thank you for the Spirit of God that indwells us and leads us and guides us in truth. Lord, we are grateful for the privilege to serve. Grateful, God, that you are building your church. But also, God, grateful that you are protecting your church. Lord, tonight we're going to hear stories of opportunities that you have given some folks in our church to be able to travel, to be in a different culture, to be in a different setting, in a different circumstance, opportunities to bear witness to the truth and the light. And certainly, God, not just impacts on those that they met, but certainly impacts on their hearts. And so as they share tonight, Lord, may we be able to identify and understand. And certainly, God, that you would continue to raise up within this church those who are willing to go, whether that's on a short term or even go full time, to go to the field and take the gospel into the world. So we just ask for fruit and your blessing now on all that we'll hear this evening. In Jesus' name, amen. And so, Nate, if you'll just follow Tammy when she's done.
Good evening. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Tammy Gertz, and some of you have maybe seen me up here before speaking in regards to our foster care ministry, Fostering Hope, but this is my other heartbeat ministry that the Lord has given me. And so you can start the slides, Johnny. So I travel with Supply and Multiply. It is a nonprofit ministry that started actually here in Suffolk, and I am a board member for the ministry, and it primarily is to serve other ministries in other countries with short-term trips. Short-term trips are primarily 1 to 2 weeks. And I have been traveling with them since 2016, and our goal is to go and support and come alongside already existing active ministry that's in country. We are not going there to create something. We're not going there to ask them to get out of the way. We are going there to hope to maybe bring some coming alongside and some joy and some just refreshing to the indigenous staff that we work with, along with the missionaries that we work with. When we are in Honduras, we are in San Pedro Sula. San Pedro Sula is the second largest city outside of Tegucigalpa, which is the capital. San Pedro Sula, it is primarily a Catholic city, and unfortunately, it has become known worldwide for its high crime, high homicide rates, the gang violence, and human trafficking. And if you have not seen the movie Sound of Freedom, I strongly suggest that you watch the movie with an open heart and an open mind, because everything they show in there is absolutely true, and it does center around human trafficking, specifically in regards to Honduras. So one of the ministries that we come alongside is Night to Shine, founded by the Tim Tebow Foundation. If you're not familiar with Night to Shine, it is an annual event that happens all over the world the same night at the same time. Don't forget, we have time zones. But it is a prom for those with special needs and special abilities. And so it is important to the Tim Tebow Foundation that this is done again at the same exact time. It's always in February, right around Valentine's Day. So here is, this is my daughter, Kailana. So I love it because I'm type A, and Night to Shine is absolutely type A. They give us a 87-page handbook to go by for our evening. And so one of the requirements is to have mascots provided to interact with our guests. And they absolutely loved seeing Moana. We also had Noah Dom that attends church here. He dressed up as Spider-Man. Sorry, guys. There we go. Oh. So another thing that they ask us to do is a red carpet. And this is because these guests need to be honored so many times in any culture and in any country. They are ostracized, they are killed, they are hidden. And so this is a night for them to be honored as kings and queens. And they all receive a crown. And I am telling you, I wish that I could show you videos of their reactions. It's just beautiful. You can see that they have a lot of fun. Our guests are not shy. They love to pose for the camera. This is them having just a good old time with one of the volunteers that was on the team. And one thing that they ask us to do as well is that it is to be hosted in a church and the gospel message is to be presented. So on this night, they're just able to completely be themselves and be who God created them to be. Another ministry we come alongside is Union y Esperanza, Union and Hope. And at the Union of Hope, this last time we hosted a medical clinic. They're a community that is built by a nonprofit out of Sweden. And they had a desire, so in 2020, in November of 2020, remember we're at the height of COVID at that time, they had 2 back-to-back Category 4 hurricanes 2 weeks apart. So San Pedro Sula was absolutely just demolished. Tens of thousands of people lost their lives, lost their homes. And this nonprofit decided to come in. They raised the funds to buy land. They built 100 homes. They have now built a school. And so this was the first time we went in and we were able to do a medical clinic. In the medical clinic, we were able to run triage. We saw approximately 400 people. We had local doctors that prescribed medications, and if they needed to, they referred them in case some of them might have needed major surgeries or ongoing needs, and so those doctors would give them scripts to be able to go to the local hospital to be able to receive that. Oh, got you, Johnny. So another part of doing medical clinic is compassion care. And this is my son, Zachary, holding a baby while his mom is being seen by a doctor. She needed some very specialized treatment, and she really needed to be able to sit down with the doctor for a period of time. And so my son was able to get her child and just show him some love while mom can just devote her time to hearing what the doctor needed to share with her in regards to the ongoing care she was going to need to receive. And of course, after serving a meal, we wanted to present the gospel and share the gift of salvation with this community. And you can see some of the homes in the background, the blue, the yellow, the pink. Those are all individual homes and houses. They have requirements in order to live here. They had to be affected by those hurricanes, but they also have to hold jobs. They have to be doing ongoing training or trade. They have to absolutely not be involved with human trafficking. I cannot get into it enough in the short amount of time that I have here with you tonight, but human trafficking and the evil around it has absolutely taken hold of San Pedro Sula. You are either trafficked or you traffic. Ebenezer School. Ebenezer School was founded a little over 30 years ago by a husband and wife. Their names are Labinia and Juan. Labinia and Juan had 2 children. Their children got extremely sick. They had to rush them to the hospital. The doctors called CPS, Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services came in and told Labinia and Juan, your children are almost dead. The water in your home has made them extremely ill. You cannot get your children back until you no longer have contaminated water in your home. That was too expensive. So they started walking the streets that's completely controlled by gangs, and they were praying and asking the Lord, show us what to do. Show us what to do. We do not know what we can do to get this water to where it's not contaminated. And they stopped in front of a small open plot of land, nothing on the land. And the Lord told them, build a house. the U.S. government's not the only one that's a little twisted, guys. They were able to build a house with absolutely no water, but because there was no contaminated water, the children can move back in with them. So they were able to purchase bottled water, bring it into the home, and their children can return home. Shortly after, Labinia was hired by the public school system. And in San Pedro Sula, the communities are, you will have your teachers in this community, you will have your doctors in this community, you will have your attorneys in this community. And so she was able to receive free housing for her home. So they turned around just a couple years later and asked the Lord, what do we do with this? And the Lord told them clearly, open a school for the gang members' children. And to this day, over 30 years later, that is who attends this school. It is the children of gang members. Some of these children are trafficked at night and come to school in the day. But by the grace of God, they do receive Christ's love. They understand that Christ died and rose for them and that he loves them. This clicker is not fun. Sorry, Johnny. If it's easier, I can just say next. What's easier for you? Yep, okay. Okay, so the last time we were there, the kids surprised us and they put on a traditional event, a cultural presentation, and everything they did, they choreographed themselves. They did dances, they did skits, and this is a few of the team members and a few of the staff with some of the students. They also made their costumes or purchased and added to it. But they primarily made most of their costumes here. When we go into the school, we run a VBS-style program, so similar to what a lot of short-term missions do when they go into another country. So we hosted a Bible presentation, and we break up into smaller, younger kids and older kids. So this is the older kids, and we gave a gospel presentation. And then we followed up with a craft project, very similar to how VBS is run here in the States. This is just a picture to show you that when team members return, continued relationships are built. And this is Greg. Greg is, him and his wife live in the Outer Banks. And he has recovered from serious addiction. And when he did, he thought he wouldn't be worthy enough to even go on a short-term trip. So the very first time we met him, he had come out of very recent addiction. And I will tell you, by the grace of God, he is completely sold out for Christ. And he goes every chance he can get. And we love it. This is a picture of myself with two girls. These girls stole my heart the very first time I went a few years ago. But they were so timid and shy, they couldn't even make eye contact with me without giggling and running away, because the students in this school had not seen a Westerner. If you don't know what a Westerner is, it's all of us, okay? They had not seen a Westerner in this school since the school had first opened. And so the founders that I mentioned to you earlier, Labinia and Juan, their daughter had seen Westerners come on short-term trips. But since she was, I think she told us, third or fourth grade, no one had come. No teams had come. So it was very scary for them to see us. The first time we went, they were very nervous to even get within about 3 feet of us. Now, if I do not get out of that van quick enough, they are opening my door. They are dragging us out. They love when we come. And that is what relationship building is, especially when you do not share a common language with the people that you are going to serve and come alongside. And again, because you don't share a common language, a lot of times activities and games are a lot of fun. You can build relationship without language, although yes, we do have translators. And this is just a picture of myself with some of the students that these 4 were the ones that choreographed the dances for the event. This is a stack of pizza boxes. It looks very familiar to most of us. You can be in San Pedro Sula and you can be seeing a donkey pulling a cart down a road in one spot, and you can see an absolute mega mall bigger than anything you would see here in Hampton Roads a few blocks away. So Ebenezer School quite literally is 1 block away from a neutral zone of the 2 largest gangs in the world. I'm not going to name them, but they are rival gangs worldwide. If you know anything, if you follow any type of news about this, you should be able to put that together. If not, do a little Google search. So when we travel in here, we have a route to take. You do not go off of that route. There are people watching you all the way in to make sure you do not go down the neutral zone. The neutral zone is for gang members only. We stay on our side, they stay on theirs. When we're on our side, the gangs respect us because remember, the school has their children in it, and this school does not cost any money. So their children are able to receive an education. And this is just a sweet little girl enjoying the pizza. So what we didn't know is we started this pizza tradition on our very first trip. We said the last day that we're in the school for the week that we're there, we're going to take pizza. It wasn't until the last time we were there, we've probably been there at least 10 times by now, that the principal of the school, remember, she was a student in 3rd or 4th grade that saw Westerners come and bring a team. She said, I can't believe you guys continue the tradition. Not all Westerners know each other. She did not know that we had no idea that the teams that came years ago when she was a little girl also did this. So it was just neat to see it come full circle. And then this is a picture. This is Lavinia in the middle. It's a dark picture. I apologize for that. But it was her birthday. And so we circled around her and we prayed with her. She's getting older, and she's praying that her daughter is able to sustain what the Lord has given them as a vision for this property. Yolani's Hope is a children's home. A lot of times it's referred to as an orphanage, but this is a term that we are trying to get away from. Again, it's run by indigenous Hondurans, but it is run by American missionaries that have a nonprofit. And they have a well-oiled machine here, guys. These kids are in every after-school activity. They are taken care of by house moms. So we go in with snacks. We go in playing games, watching the children. Watching these children allow the house moms just a small little break. A lot of times, if they need to use the restroom, they are taking these babies with them. They usually have 2 or 3 children that they are responsible to take care of at all times. So that little bit of time that we're there for a few hours, a couple times when we go, gives them a break. This sweet baby. I met her mom a few years ago. I saw her mom when she was pregnant, but she wasn't showing. I held this baby when she was less than 2 weeks old, and I held her the last time I was there. And I don't know if there's young children in here, so I'm going to be careful with what I say. But this young mom with mental impairments at 12 years old was impregnated. And it's by the grace of God that she kept this child. It's by the grace of God that somebody dumped her in front of Yolani's Hope. And it's by the grace of God that these house moms took her in. They teach her how to care for her child. They make her know that she is capable. They help teach her how to raise her, how to feed her, how to put her on a schedule. And they love her and they love on her child. House of Hope. This ministry has absolutely stolen my heart. It is a place for women that are in the strongholds of the sex industry. Either, I struggle to say chosen prostitution because I don't think any woman fully chooses to be in prostitution. There is some type of desperation that brings a woman to this point. But the House of Hope, whether a woman is in prostitution, whether they are being trafficked, House of Hope comes alongside of them. And when they come alongside of them, they help restore their dignity. They give them training, not only in like occupational things that they can do, but also in their worth and in their worth in Christ. And so they have Bible studies that they do weekly. They have trainings for employment that they do. They teach these women how to bake bread, how to sew, how to care for their children, how to care for themselves. This is a picture of Susanna. And I will keep this brief, and I will absolutely share with you, and I can share their website with you. Susanna was stuck in human trafficking in the sex industry for over 20 years. She was harmed brutally by many men. She was taken across the country's line, trafficked in another country. She was left for dead multiple times. She would wake up at times and not understand how she was still alive and beg God, of whom she did not believe in at the time, to just take her life. And then somebody from House of Hope found her laying on the street. They actually knew her from childhood, but they did not recognize her when they first brought her in. And it wasn't until a few days when the swelling in her face went down that they understood that they knew who she was. And now Susanna, she goes deep into the evil parts of San Pedro Sula, and she will physically pull these women out of where they're at and get them to safety. Castro 2 is one of those places, and this is us as a team going up to where they're at. And it is hard. It is a place where we can do a children's ministry, but if you can see that person in the way back, call it what you may, a pimp, a John, whatever, but he is making sure that we do not take any of these women while he's on watch. This is just us pouring into the children. Bubbles, I will tell you, Bubbles Anywhere are a kid's best friend, and so it's a great way to be able to come alongside them. And of course, we want to instill prayer into these children. This little girl takes care of her little baby sibling right there. She is 7 years old. And so I just wanted to try to pour into her. This is a new location that they went to, and you can tell just by looking at it that it is hard life where they're at. And this little girl was so scared, but she was so curious of what was going on, and we just wanted to be able to spend time with them. It was the first time they'd ever taken a team. We took some of the children from Castro 2 to the Children's Museum. Most of these kids had never been in a vehicle before or out of the slum area that they live in. None of them got motion sick, thank you, Jesus. This is the Children's Museum. And you think paying for tickets for the kids was easy. This took us about 45 minutes. Imagine all those children running around while we were trying to figure this out. This is a kid just kind of listening to the rules. They enjoyed sitting on a police officer's motorcycle. They loved the day. And this is us at a grocery store. They were selling food to me at the grocery store. And I just want to say that when we go on short-term missions, we want to come alongside. We want to bring refreshing to the missionaries and the indigenous staff that we come alongside. But I find it incredibly important to participate in the culture where you're there. Learn something about the culture. Learn something about the people. And so we do take a day. Honestly, usually it's about a half a day. And we check something out. We take some of the missionaries with us. But this is a place that we love to go to, and they have zip lining. It's 8 different zip lines, and one of them goes directly over this waterfall. It is breathtaking. It is beautiful. My husband would not love it. He does not love heights, but it is. I love it. And then we also visit local shops, local tourist areas, local people. Just pour into them, spend some money, and into their communities. So I will be heading out next Wednesday for a week. Missions. I would love your prayers. And then I'm also going to be taking a team in October. So if you're interested in going, let me know. We'd love to have you. Nate?
Good evening, everybody. I'm here to share our mission report back for Senegal, Africa. And I think some of our team is here. Carson Forster went with us, Joseph Culbertson. And then we had 2 guys from different churches, Brian Saunders and Brian Fowler. So I thought I would start the night off just to kind of explain who we serve with and what they do. And so we come alongside of an organization called Friends in Action, which is who the Efflers serve with. And Friends in Action is in the mission of bringing water to Africa. Specifically, Senegal is where we were. And so this organization comes alongside of villages, and there is a partnership that is developed. And there's a process that goes along with this well drilling situation here. Typically, Jeremy will get a lead that someone is in need of a well, or there's been a request for a well, and there's typically 1 or 2 site visits that take place where he'll go and identify if there's a pastor in that particular village, and also if there is an established church or if there is a church being developed in there. So there's a lot of prerequisites that take place, and then if everything goes through, then it gets put on the schedule, and then when we arrive, along with other teams in the spring of the year, we take one at a time and try to get those wells dug. So this year, let me back up and explain some of the partnerships. So once the drilling process takes place, when we go to the village, Friends in Action provides the material and the labor to dig the well. Now with that, if that village wants a hand pump for that well, then Friends in Action will provide that. But most choose not to use the hand pump, and for that, they're responsible as a community to raise the funds so that they can get a well pump, which is powered by a solar panel. So just to put that in perspective, that cost for that well pump and the solar panel is about $200 US. And so that gives them a little bit of buy-in to the well drilling process by allowing the community to come together and raise some funds, and then they buy their own well pump and a solar panel. So this year when we arrived, we hit the ground running. Jeremy picked us up, and we made our way to the compound. We dropped our bags, hung out just for a little bit. We changed into our work clothes, and we went straight to work. And so Johnny's just going to keep these pictures rolling in the background. These are just some pictures from our trip, obviously. They're upside down. That's okay. All right. So anyway, like I said, we hit the ground running. Jeremy and another team had already drilled a well, but it was time. It hadn't been cleaned out yet. So day one, we hit the ground, went to the drilling site, and were able to be a part of cleaning that well out. The next day, which would have been Friday and Saturday, we were able to drill our first well with success. Everything went well there. It was a great experience. And we met a pastor there who came alongside of us and was very much in the game of helping us drilling that first well. And we found out that he was going to help lead us to his village where he needed a well. And so anyway, we finished that first well, and then that would have been Friday and Saturday. On that Sunday, we had the opportunity to go worship at Pastor E's church, which is a great experience. A couple of translations going on there, so sometimes trying to keep up is a little tough. But man, to be a part of their worship was such a blessing. And so after Sunday worship, we went to the beach and hung out just for a little bit to get ready for what was to come the coming week. So then Monday we hit the ground running and started drilling wells. So Jeremy very much depends on pastors of the villages to lead him or lead us from village to village, because the roads are rough and very sandy, and so we depend on them to take us on the best route to keep the heavy equipment from getting stuck. And so what was very unique, I told you in the very first well that there was a pastor who showed up and was requesting the well at his village. And when we left that village, we thought that this pastor was leading us to his village. But when we got to the next well site, we realized that the pastor at the next village was handicapped. And what we found out was this pastor who showed up at the first well site very, very well could have led us to his church, but he decided to carry us to his brother's church first. And he was handicapped. Well, what did that mean? He was handicapped, which meant he couldn't come out to meet us and to guide us to the different places. And so this pastor carried us to his church first. And so I'm going to go ahead and get right into that. That was my takeaway, or that was our takeaway for this year. Philippians 2:3-4 says this: "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility regard others as more important than yourselves." Verse 4, "Do not merely look out for your own personal interest, but also for the interest of others. And so my takeaway this year was this pastor who showed up on the first well, his village had not had water for 5 days. No water in his village. I would venture to say that he had the greater need than the village that he led us to second. But he put someone else's needs before his own. The other pastor, as I told you, was handicapped. He couldn't come out to meet us. And so he led us to that village first, in which we were able to drill a well successfully there. I want to recap as well. My takeaway from last year, one of the well sites that we went to, that particular pastor left his home village and went and planted a church. For the last 7 years, he had been praying for water to come to his village. And so we showed up, and we were very excited that we were able to be there and to provide water for this village, only to spend a day and a half drilling, and we break for lunch. And while we're breaking, Jeremy's testing the salinity of the water to see if it's going to be fit for irrigation, for the animals to drink, and for the people to be able to have drinking water. And so we're sharing our meal, and at the end, Jeremy comes up and he says, I got some bad news. And he said, the salinity in the water is way too high. We're going to have to vacate this well, and it's not going to be any good. Now, remember, this pastor's been praying for water for 7 years. We get the opportunity to come and drill this well, only to find out that the water that we hit is no good. We're going to fill this water back in. And he said, pray for me. I got to go tell this pastor that we're going to have to vacate this well. And so Jeremy goes and he says, in French, which I have no clue what they were saying, but he said, brother, the salinity's too high. We're going to have to vacate this well. And he didn't get it out of his mouth good before the pastor said, God is still good. And he knows the needs of his children. Man, it blew me away. Because how many times in our lives when we get such news like that, does our first response, God is still good, and he knows the need of his children? I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes that's not the first thing that comes to my mind. And so I was super impressed with that. But what was really cool was that pastor, we had a chance to go to his home village this year where his brother is a pastor. And we were able to drill a well successful there. And so that was really cool. The relationship that we were able to develop with him last year ended up leading to the opportunity to go to his village and to drill a well for his home village this year. Another thing that's really cool, the pastors in the region that Jeremy serves have developed maybe the group of pastors, maybe an association you would say. And these pastors come together and allow their churches to help serve each other. And so what that means is maybe there's a need over here to build a house or maybe there's some construction, different things that might need to be done. This church over here may have the skills and the ability to come and serve this church. And so these pastors have learned to collaborate with each other, and these folks are coming together and serving together and taking care of each other. And that was super encouraging. Pastor E that I mentioned has been very instrumental. Is probably Jeremy's go-to guy. He has the relationships with everybody in the region. Very much depends on Pastor E to help us get to these spots that need water. I'm trying to think if this is the village. Have we gotten to the picture with a little boy holding a bottle? Have we seen that one yet? Anyway, it'll probably come. If you see that, Johnny, you can step forward to it. So I want to back up, and I want to go to that pastor whose village didn't have water for 5 years. And you can ask some of these guys that were with me. When we convoyed up to that village, it was like showing up to a pep rally. I mean, they were beating on buckets, and they were dancing, and they were singing, and they were so glad that we came. And there were so many people there with jugs of empty jugs waiting for water. And there's a picture here. I hope we can get to it. There's a little boy, and he's sitting there waiting patiently with his empty water bottle. He couldn't wait for us to hit water, and he wanted to go and fill that water bottle up. And then I think the very next picture, if we end up getting to that, is him standing at the end of that hose once we was priceless. Also, there's a video that I don't think made it on this slideshow of just the reaction. You saw a little bit, I think it was this video here actually. When we go to clean that well out, we drop a compressor hose way down into that well. You can kind of see the water. And you kind of hear that thing start bubbling and bubbling, and all of a sudden it hits, and man, water shoots 50 to 100 foot in the air. And in that moment, man, everybody just celebrates, and they're praising the Lord. And I'm going to tell you, if that won't make a grown man cry, the water's coming out of the well, and the water's coming out of my eyes, man. And it's truly a rewarding experience. And so I just wanted to share tonight that 3 years ago, I was sitting in a chair just like you guys. I think it was at the missions conference, and Jeremy showed a video of that well being cleaned out and the water shooting 50 to 100 foot in the air, and everybody dancing and celebrating. And I saw that video, and I said, I want to be a part of that. I want to experience that. And so praise the Lord, I've had a chance to go 2 years, and all the guys on the trip were returners. And we were able to drill as many wells this year as we did last year. And we had a very successful time. One of the things I appreciate about our church is in missions, we don't just send money to our organization and allow them to distribute funds all over the place. We develop relationships with our missionaries. It's so cool to have the Wits here and be able to do life with them a little bit. And we're in the process of trying to get foot on the ground where they serve so that we too can go and put foot on the ground there. But it's really cool when I get a chance to talk to Jeremy, because I've been there, and I'm speaking for the team here, when we talk to him and he says, hey, I'm out behind the house, or I'm over at the guest house, or I'm over in this village, or hey, I'm on the rig doing this, because you've been there, because you've seen it, because you've smelt it, because you've tasted the food, you have context of what it's like. You can relate. And I think that if you talk to the Wits tonight, it's so encouraging when us as a church family are able to go and serve alongside them, just to let them know that we love you, we're here, we're shouldering up with you. No matter what, we're in the game with you. And so I just encourage you to be open. I want to close with a quick story of how God assembled one of our teams this year. We had a guy that went for the first time. He showed up at Outdoorsman at my house. I think it was in January. And the speaker that we had came in and he challenged all the men to be on mission. And this particular guy is actually a friend of mine for years. And he came up, you can see some of the celebration going on here. I don't think it has pictures of us dancing, but some of us joined in there. Anyway, when the Outdoorsman meeting was over, this gentleman came up and he said, hey, he's kind of a jokester. He came up, he said, hey man, let's go on a mission trip. Well, what he don't know is 2 of our guys weren't able to go this year, and we needed at least one more guy. And so this guy's never been on a mission trip. I said, all right, call me tomorrow. And so he calls me the next day, and I said, hey, are you serious about a mission trip? And he said, yeah, let's go on a mission trip. And I said, good. How about Senegal, Africa? He said, Africa? Can we start like somewhere here and do something in downtown Suffolk or something local? He said, my first trip, I'm going to Africa. I said, yes, sir. I said, will you pray about that thing? And because I've been before, I was able to share a lot of pictures and share the mission and all those kinds of things. And again, I told you this guy's kind of a jokester, right? So we spent some time talking back and forth, answering questions, and I just said, you get before the Lord and find out if you're supposed to go with us. So it was a Wednesday night just like this, and I left. He said he was going to call me. I got in the truck, and he said, hey, man, isn't there a lot of shots and stuff you got to take to go to Senegal? And I said, no, we don't take any shots to go to Senegal. And he starts talking sad about all these things, and I said, brother, you don't have to feel pressure to go on this trip. I said, if you don't want to go, it's fine, but I got to buy the plane tickets. And he got real quiet, and he said, well, buy me one because I'm going with you. And so he joined our team this year. But I thought it was really cool that God used a man to come to an Outdoorsman event to encourage men to be on mission. We had a spot that we needed to be filled, and the first time he ever went on a mission trip, he went across the water with us, and God did some really, really cool things in that man's life while we were over there, and we'll save that for another day. But I just encourage you, missions isn't just across the water. Missions is wherever we are at any given time. We're to be on mission all the time, each and every day. So thank you for your attention, and we'll
All right, so as you heard, we're going to keep the mission trips going. So if when you hear about the next one, if you'd like to go on that, you're certainly welcome to ask Tammy questions about Honduras, ask Nate about Senegal, and then, of course, when we get others like La Paz, we would like to get feet on the ground in Kenya. We've talked about that for now over a year. So it's time to put some feet to action on that one. And who knows? I know we've been to India. Help me out. Where else have we been? We've been to, where else have we been? Yeah, England. Yep. So we've gone a lot of different places. When Tammy was talking about poverty in one, go a couple blocks down the street and you see this amazing mall. That's what we saw in Manila when my wife and I had a chance to go there. It was unbelievable, just the change just in a few blocks. So if you've never been, we'd love to send you. So thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoy some fellowship.